pass. Kevin is now across my side. Okay, so even before he comes and brings his weight down and on top of me, I have to understand that one of the most important things that he has to do to mount is to address this leg. He has to bring this leg over me. One of the most common ways for people to start to bring that leg over you is they kick their leg over like they're getting onto a horse or a motorcycle or a bicycle, right? So go ahead and just kick your leg over. When they do that, that's when I have time and space and ability to start to make it difficult for them, and it can also maintain my space, and it gives me the ability to move. Okay, so go back. So number one, sit straight up. Just put your knee on my hip. Over on top. Okay. So notice the relationship with his knee and the center of my body. Okay. When he pushes his knee through to this side, he does what I call, he gains ground. So push your leg through. See how I stayed in place and he's able to get the entire part of his leg through. Go back. So now this is the second section. One section or one idea is they kick the leg over. The second section is when they place their knee on top of you and start to push the leg through the area between your knees and your elbows. So number one, one of the most fundamental things that I want to do is to roll with him. Watch this. As he starts to push the knee through, go ahead and take the normal side mount, side control, however. And when he starts to roll, go back, half a movement. I'm going to turn with him, start to push through slowly. Okay, so now he doesn't have the same ground in the same space and made the same advancement because I didn't let him come past my center. So I roll with him. Okay, next. I personally choose when they do this to keep my knees high. I want to make it a little bit uncomfortable for him to freely make that leg go over. And now I'm going to address the heel. So as he brings that leg through, bring your leg through and just bring your knee down to the floor. He takes a pathway, stay there, that is along my belt line. Okay? So I'm purposely keeping his heel close to his butt. So now watch this. I'm going to make a circle with my knee. And now I'm on top of his foot. I just cross my leg over top of it. For a moment, every now and then, I will keep this leg close. Okay, one more time. He places the knee on my hip. He starts to travel through, and I go with him. Okay, even if he drives his knee to the floor now, drive your knee to the floor, I still keep my leg close to his butt. And I wait. So now I'm going to make that circle. Aha. Now I have his heel trapped. I'm going to keep his heel as much as possible. And that allows me to, if we do our 4x4 guard, think about it like this. I've just taken away one of his line number one. So now, come away from me just for a second. This is really important, especially for everybody lighter and smaller. This is a very important mechanic. What I want to do is keep my heel to my butt, and I'm going to push my hips up slightly and turn directly towards him. And what that's going to do is help lighten the weight that he has on his knee. Then I can address his knee with my hands or my forearm and elbow. And I'm going to push his leg between my legs, and I'm going to bring my bottom leg just along the floor, just like that. So I can push his knee between my legs. So number one is we roll with him as a concept. Go. Keep coming. It's okay. I'll stay here and I'll wait. I don't want to complete my movement yet. Now I make the circle. Notice I go extremely wide even if his foot came down. I just want to make sure that I get it. I don't want to make a short a short movement and possibly not get it. So I hold my heel to my butt, and that keeps his heel in place. The bottom one, every now and then I'll hold on if he's just resisting. If not, I don't want to trap myself. So now my heels go to my butt on my right foot. I lift my hips up just slightly, and I cap his knee. That keeps the space that I've gained. Now I bring my knee up towards my chest and face. I'm gonna take the side of my foot, leave it on the ground, back out all the way just for demonstration purposes. And I want you guys to practice this motion right here. Straighten one leg out all the way on the floor, and keep your leg bent, but I'm just going to turn it and drive it towards him. Right.
Oops, sorry.
That's okay. That's super important, but I also want to keep my foot on the floor. I don't want to do this and reach with it. And I don't want to step behind his leg either. That will lock me in place. So now, here we go. Knee on me. He drives through, and I go with him. He drives down, no problem. I keep his foot pinned. Now I'm going to come and make the circle. Then I hold. Press up, hold. See how now his knee just came up a little bit. Just enough. Perfect. Here's the next portion. I drop and straighten my leg out. Now I'm going to drive my knee towards him. That is one of the most major components for about 4 big mount escapes that we're going to use over and over and over. That one component right there. So now I'm going to make a hand position change. Everybody come on this side now, just so you can, you're in general, if you're in this angle. Now my hands have come away from dealing with his knee and his waist and belt line, and they're going to go to what I call the karate chop position. So I'm going to put my hand on his neck, sit up just for a second, so you see clear, and I'm going to address his knee. Depending on the size of my opponent and also the placement and distance that that knee is, I'm going to use my forearm if it's super close, or I'll use my hand to check and just keep it in place. Okay? So now, one of the most important things, actually come all the way off for this, and then we'll come back. I want you guys to straighten your leg out. Very important to just straighten it out. And I'm going to move my hip. 1. Now I'm going to move my hip again, but I'm going to take a step first. 2. I want to be able to make this motion indefinitely for whatever's needed. What I don't want to do is compound the motion as I turn over to 1, move my hip and bend my leg. When I move my hip and bend my leg at the same time, come back over. This one between, this one between. Karate chop position, hand in checking position. I move my hip and bend my leg. And I end up ramming my leg into the back of or side of his leg, and it makes it so I can't move. So essentially 1, 2, bend the leg. Foot on the hip. Now he's back into my guard position, and I have the ability to use my legs. So all together now. 1, turning with him. Next, my hands are in position, and I'm using my forearms to just maintain the space that I already have. Drive your leg through. Keep my leg up. Now make the circle. Now, heel to my butt, squeeze, push, drop. No big deal and no rush. 1, 2, bend. So, dealing with the leg that comes across the belt line, that one is often the most challenging. So that's why I want to start with this one. When they go to kick that leg over, kick the leg over, that's often the easiest one to deal with. So we'll do that one after this, okay? Do you have any questions on any part of of that movement. Does anybody want to see it again? Okay, so what I want to do is we're going to break it into pieces because it's the most important thing. One is get used to turning with them and using your elbows and forearms just against the inside thigh and the knee area of your opponent. Because I want to not let him drive that knee over here and drive that knee under my armpit. Drive that knee over there and under my armpit. Oh, that's much more difficult for me to deal with. See? I would like to keep him at the angle that he's at. Even down here, even with one hand, start to drive, I'm just turning with him and keeping it. Go back. I'm not even necessarily pushing and shoving. What I'm trying to do is just place this section of my arm in between us, the part that he can't even bend or squish. No muscle involved. I'm just using the frame of the structure of my tricep, go, to keep him at least there. Even if I haven't done anything, and even my feet are even late and my knees are out, no big deal. We'll see even at this point. Oh, I dropped his leg again. Perfect. And we'll see. Maybe I'm going to let him make an adjustment. Make an adjustment to make yourself more comfortable and feel like you gain position, up or down or whatever. I want you guys to pause in place. Protect yourself. No big deal. Now, here we go. 1, 2. Okay. Watch this detail. Come back over. Knee down. Good. Come through. Have the leg. Okay, see how my foot is bent? It was the one that was trapping his leg, right? Imagine this. He's actually, even if he sits back, I'm holding him up. I'm holding him on top of me. And that's one of the most important reasons that I straighten my leg out. See, he has nowhere else to go but back. It sits him backing down, and it gives me the ability to keep him there now with my hands. Everybody come to this side. Let's angle. Better yet, stay there. Let's angle. Good. Now, he's sat down and back, and I'm going to keep him there with karate chop. And again, depending on the size or position of my opponent, drive your knee up towards my ribs. And I might have to use my elbow. Watch. No good, just leave it there. I'm going to circle my elbow inside. Now I'm going to turn towards him. Then that structure's in place. 1, 2, 1, 2. So all that makes sense. I know that this has a lot of moving parts, but when we break it up into sections, it's going to be easy. Now I want to add to that as a mindset, as a concept. Often, the heavier, the stronger, the more experienced or more aggressive my opponent is, the more sections I will probably have to make my movement into. And I want you guys to feel comfortable with pausing in each section, and even if necessary, going back 1 to 2 sections, and then going forward. So if they're big, if they're strong, if they're aggressive, if they know stuff, if they're trying really hard, we might have to do it in more pieces. 1 at a time, a half a movement at a time, but just stay on your path. Don't give up and try to do one whole thing complete. And then it doesn't work, and then you give up entirely and try to do a different thing complete. And then give up and try to do the other thing complete. Okay? Pieces, pieces, pieces. Like food. We don't want to bite and swallow. We might have to chew it up, right? To make it happen. And that's what we're doing. We're chewing up our opponent's position. Okay? Everybody partner up. If you have any questions, I'll be around. I'm going to watch, and then I'm going to add to the details. 1, 2, 3.